Hi, my name is Cameron, and the three time periods that I chose for my video is the earliest art period, the classical period, and the Renaissance. So the piece that I chose for the earliest art period is called King Manquara and Queen Camerernepti, dating back to 2490 to 2472 BCE in Giza, Egypt. And this is what it looks like. And this is a carving sculpture, and they actually found it like this, so it remained in the rest of the stone. So this is a carving of a king and a queen during the Egyptian period. And you can tell that this is a king and a queen by what the man is wearing. So he's wearing something called a false ceremonial beard, and then he's wearing a headdress, which is only for these two items are only for kings, and that the woman is with the man. You can tell they're both in power because the way their feet are, their right foot, their left foot, their left feet are ahead of their right, and this was a formal pose for royal portraits during this time, and they were also dressed to communicate their power and royalty. So her arm, you can also note that her arm is like this, and her hand is around his back, and this is showing her dependence on the man for her role in society. And it also shows sympathy for the man and warmth and love, and kind of like today, like women do that a lot, to show support and just connection and stuff like that. And also read that the man can do this too, and that would just mean that this would show dependence for him on the woman for his role in society. And you can tell that the man is carved like in front of the woman, just the way it's like carved, like his shoulder is kind of in front of her. And so so this was a formal portrait in the Egyptian period, and the king is always on the viewer's left, so the king would be on the right, or whoever's on the right is showing the place of honor in Egyptian representations. So the next piece I chose is the classical period, so I chose the piece called Venus de Medici, and this is during the 3rd century BCE. This is another carving sculpture of the Greek goddess Venus, and she is the goddess of love and beauty and romance, and I think there's a few other ones, and the goddess of sexuality, I think, too. And you can see, like, there's also a very tiny sculpture of Cupid riding a dolphin, and it said, I read somewhere that this is Venus rising from the sea, and she's covering herself more modestly, and it was considered like a refined profile and modest pose for Greek idealization of human figures. and it also represents feminine ideal, or this sculpture represents feminine ideal. And this type of artwork is considered Hellenistic art, which means Greek-like. And so she's rising from the sea, and she's like a big sculpture, and it's like a life-size statue of Venus. And I also read that the men were really attracted to this at the time. But this, compared to what I just did for the Egyptian period, I think ones I saw in the book where more people were covered, and then you see during the Greek period, you see a lot more people not covered. But I also read that they became more dynamic and less idealized, so they leaned more towards everyday activities, and historical things were now more common. So the third piece I chose was in the Renaissance period, and I chose, it's called Hunters in the Snow, and it's oil on panel. It's from 1565, and this is not a carving or a sculpture of the human body, but it has a bunch of people in it, and it's about hunters during January. And let's see, so this shows a bunch of people hunting, and you just see a lot of things going on. And I read that during this time, they the artist, what's his name? Hold on. Bruegel. Hold on. Sorry. Pieter Bruegel kind of developed a broad sense of composition and spatial depth, and focused more on the lives of people, all different types of people, and their surroundings, and like just regular people and what they're doing, and people hunting and just being people instead of like their portraits or like a carving of them. So it leaned more towards everyday things, and not just royalty, like the Egyptian kings and queens and the Greek goddesses. And so it was more towards people. You would see more like peasants and people like that. And so I think all of these, they've definitely evolved. Like you definitely don't see a lot of sculptures of people who are completely nude, or even pictures like with technology, you don't see people that are completely nude. I mean, people, you can do whatever you want, and there are definitely photos like that, but if it's to the public, it's not considered, like, you can't really do that. And so stuff like that's more private, but like art towards the public is more towards a wide variety of every kind of different thing, like people, all types of people doing all types of different things. It's not just like one specific thing, like people of power and things. It's like now you see people in poverty, and you see people happy, people sad. It's like, I feel like it's totally different. But yeah.